Welcome, curious minds. Today, we're embarking on a pretty fascinating deep dive. We're looking at three really pivotal U.S. presidents: Abraham Lincoln, John F. Kennedy, and Barack Obama.
Right.
Our mission, really, is to unpack their journeys, understand their key contributions, and maybe find some of those aha moments that, shaped American history and still echo today.
It's actually remarkable when you look at them side by side. I mean, vastly different backgrounds, different eras,
Hmm.
yet they all faced these immense challenges, and they left, well, an indelible mark. We'll dig into their origins, how they rose to power, those defining moments in office, and how their time ended, whether by choice or tragically not.
And the paths they took are so varied.
Exactly. That diversity in leadership, how it's forged, that's what's really interesting here, often in unexpected ways, too.
Okay, so let's unpack Lincoln first, often called the Great Emancipator. It's kind of hard to imagine, right? Born poor, Kentucky frontier cabin, mostly self-educated,
Mm.
enduring hardship. It's a very stark beginning.
Incredibly humble, yeah.
Hmm.
He essentially built his career from absolutely nothing, rose through the Illinois legislature
Right.
to become the 16th president in 1860, and he was the first successful Republican candidate.
Very first, yeah.
And if you connect that to the bigger picture, his main monumental task was just holding the country together.
During the Civil War. Brutal.
Absolutely brutal. And what's often maybe overlooked is his political skill balancing these radical abolitionist demands with, trying to keep those wavering border states in the Union. That was key.
That strategic thinking really comes through with the Emancipation Proclamation in 63,
Mhm.
which it wasn't just freeing slaves in the Confederacy, it really shifted the whole moral purpose of the war, didn't it?
It absolutely did. A masterstroke, politically and morally.
And of course, the Gettysburg Address, still one of the most powerful speeches ever. But his story ends tragically, an ultimate sacrifice.
It does. Assassinated.
Yeah.
John Wilkes Booth, Ford's Theater, April 14th, 1865, just days after the war essentially ended. He became the first martyred U.S. president. And it really makes you think, what does it mean for a leader to sacrifice literally everything for their nation's future?
Yeah, a profound question. Okay, so from Lincoln's sort of self-made struggle and that tragic end, let's pivot. John F. Kennedy, a completely different story.
Night and day, almost.
Right. Wealthy Massachusetts family, political dynasty, Harvard grad, WWII hero, that whole PT 109 story.
Saved his crew.
Yeah. He becomes the 35th president in 61, so young, only 43.
And what's really compelling about JFK's presidency, I think, are those incredibly high-stakes moments he had to navigate.
Like the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Exactly, 1962. I mean, brink of nuclear war. But it wasn't just about avoiding war, it was how he did it, using private back channels, sort of bypassing the usual routes.
Interesting.
That was crucial for de-escalation, plus his support for the civil rights movement, which was gaining momentum.
Right. Crucial support there.
And that famous call to action, "We choose to go to the moon," galvanizing the nation.
Such an iconic line. But then his assassination, November 22nd, 1963, Dallas. Lee Harvey Oswald. It just stunned the world.
Absolutely, a complete shock.
He really became this symbol of, lost potential, a modern martyr in a way.
He did, and the abruptness, it just changed the course of things.
Yeah.
And, spawned countless theories that still capture the public imagination.
Still debated today. Okay, finally, let's delve into Barack Obama, America's first black president.
A historic figure.
Born in Hawaii, white American mother, Kenyan father, Columbia, then Harvard Law, started out as a community organizer in Chicago before politics, U.S. Senator in 2004.
And then, 2008,
Yeah.
history made. The 44th president, the first African-American to hold the office, just shattered that barrier.
Huge.
There's major achievements.
Well, the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, stands out. A massive, complex effort to reform health insurance.
Very complex, yeah. Lots of debate around that.
For sure. And then there was the successful bin Laden operation in 2011, plus a real focus on diplomacy, the Iran nuclear deal, restoring relations with Cuba, right, earning him the Nobel Peace Prize back in 2009.
Exactly. Bold initiatives on the world stage.
So what about his post-presidency? What does that tell us about how influence continues?
Well, since leaving office in 2017, he's been incredibly active. His foundation, best-selling books, he's still a major voice, an inspirational speaker, a global figure. It really shows how a president's legacy and influence, they don't just stop when they leave the White House. They continue to shape conversations, future policy.
That makes sense.
So if you kind of tie it all together, these three presidents, they face these enormous defining challenges. Civil war, racial division, nuclear standoffs, healthcare battles.
Huge systemic issues.
Right. And their lives really show us how individual leadership, even coming from such different places, can profoundly shape where a nation goes, often in ways you wouldn't expect.
It is striking how their own personal struggles, in a way,